Welcome all in this lecture of biophysics. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about the time scales or temporal scales of different types of biological process. And the content of this particular lecture is from the textbook of Physical Biology of the Cell by Rob Phillips and others. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the spatial scales of biological systems. So, the previous lecture is somewhat correlated to this particular lecture, because spatial scale and temporal scale both are important to describe the different types of phenomena in biological systems. The time scales associated with biological processes run from the nanosecond and even faster, that is nanosecond scale of enzyme action. The action of the enzyme in different types of biological process are very fast, and it is in the order of nanosecond scale. To the more than 10 to the power 9 years that cover the evolutionary history of life and the earth itself. That means, if you consider the evolutionary history of life, then the time scale is of the order of 10 to the power 9 years. Whereas, if you study the enzyme action kinetics, then the time scale will be in the nanosecond regime. So, that is why we are saying that is the temporal scale in different types of biological process runs from as low as nanosecond scale to the as high as 10 to the power 9 years, which describes the evolutionary history of life and the earth itself. So, this is the range of the time scale which is important to describe different types of biological processes. Now, I will show you a figure from this textbook of Rob Phillips. You see this figure. In this figure, this is actually the time scale. You see in the bottom, this is 10 to the power minus 15, the unit is second. This is 10 to the power minus 15, this is 10 to the power minus 12, 10 to the power minus 9, and step by step the time is increasing. So, it is starting from 10 to the power minus 15 or that is femtosecond range to step by step it is increasing. Step by step it is increasing from femto to picosecond to nanosecond to microsecond to millisecond, then to second, then 10 to the power 3 second, that is kilo order, then mega order, then giga order. In this way, step by step it is increasing, and it is up to 10 to the power 18 second. So, this is the scale of the time, and in this scale, if you look at this figure, different types of biological processes are described in different range of the time scale. For example, you see that this is 10 to the power minus 15 to 10 to the power minus 12 to a little bit higher. This particular range of the time scale, this scale is for the bond vibration, that is in this time scale vibration of the chemical bond occurs in different biological systems. So this is one of the examples. Similarly, in different time scales, different types of biological phenomena is described. For example, you see that this is enzyme turnover time. So in the left hand side of the scale, if you look at the left hand side of the scale, then different types of biological phenomena has been described in a particular time scale range. For example, this particular range of the time scale is reserved for bond vibrations. This is a range. Here we are not speaking about a about the absolute value of the bond vibration. Here the absolute value is not important, rather we are speaking about the range of the time to have an idea that is in which time scale a particular phenomena, biological phenomena occurs. So for example, this bond vibration occurs in this particular scale of the time. Similarly, you see that is this one is the enzyme turnover times. The time range of the time scale is of the order of 10 to the power minus 6 to 1. So in this way, in the left hand side, different types, for example, protein conformational change, protein folding, protein half lives, cell doubling times. These are different types of biological phenomena that has been described in this figure. But here a particular point to note, that is these are not all the biological process which has been described. These are some examples. These are some examples to have some idea that is in which time scale such types of biological process occurs. Now we will discuss a some little bit more about this biological process. So we start from the lowest point of the time scale, that is which is starting from 10 to the power minus 15 second to 10 to the power minus 12 second. So this time scale is reserved for the bond vibrations. Now what is bond vibration? Chemical bonds in the atom or molecule may rotate or vibrate. If you give some energy, even in room temperature, it may happen that the bonds may rotate or vibrate. Molecules have vibrational energy due to the vibration of the constituent atoms about their equilibrium positions. Similarly, rotational energy arises due to rotation of the molecule about its center of mass. So due to the vibration or rotation of the atoms, molecules get some energy. In general, vibrational energy is greater than the rotational energy. Now for vibrational energy, there should be some corresponding vibrational frequency, and this vibrational frequency is generally in the infrared region, and the range of the frequency is from 430 terahertz to 300 gigahertz. This is the frequency range. Now we can convert the frequency to the time. We know that frequency is equal to inverse of time. So the corresponding time scale for the vibrational frequency will be from this one, that is if you just apply this particular formula to this particular frequencies, then the time scale will be 2.3 into 10 to the power minus 15 second to 3.3 into 10 to the power minus 12 second. So this is the range of the time scale. That is why here 10 to the power minus 15 to 10 to the power minus 12 this has been assigned for the time scale of the bond vibration. Similarly, for rotational frequency is in the microwave region, and its frequency range is 300 gigahertz to 300 megahertz. And similarly, if you apply this formula, then you will observe that is the time scale is of the order of almost 10 to the power minus 12 second to 10 to the power minus 9 second. So in this particular range, the rotation of the bond takes place. So you see this, that is side chain rotation. For example, this is a particular example, that is absolute value of the side chain rotation is almost 500 picosecond. So in this range, vibration and rotation of the chemical bond occurs. Now another phenomena, biological phenomena, that is enzyme turnover rate. So enzyme turnover rate, this starts from the this side, that is 10 to the power minus 6 to a little bit higher than 1. So this range is for enzyme turnover times. Now what is enzyme turnover rate or enzyme turnover time? That is, it is an assessment of the ability of an enzyme to catalyze a reaction. As measured, that is, it is measured by the number of molecules of substrate which react per second at one active site when the enzyme is saturated with substrate. So basically enzyme turnover means it is the ability of an enzyme to catalyze a reaction. The turnover rate varies widely between different enzymes. That is why we are getting a particular range. The range is only because there may be different types of enzyme. That is why there is a time scale associated with the enzyme turnover. So this range starts from the microsecond, that is 10 to the power minus 6 second, to a little bit higher than 1 second. This is enzyme turnover times. Another biological process is the conformational change. Now what is conformational change? A conformational change is a change in the shape of a macromolecule. It may be protein, and we are basically speaking about the protein here, conformational change of the protein. So conformational change is a change in the shape of the proteins, often induced by environmental factors. A macromolecule is usually flexible and dynamic. It can change its shape in response to changes in its environment or other factors. Each possible shape is called a conformation, and a transition between them is called a conformational change. Factors that may induce such changes include temperature, pH, voltage, light in chromophores, ion concentration, phosphorylation, or the binding of a ligand. So such types of factors may affect the change in the shape of the proteins or the macromolecules. Transition between these states occur on a variety of length scales and time scales. So there are specified length scales and time scales for the variation between different types of states of the proteins. So the time scale, you see that it may be nanosecond to second order, and there is a range of time scales associated with the conformational change and have been linked to functionally relevant phenomena such as allosteric signaling and enzyme catalysis. So these are a brief idea about the protein conformational change. So if you consider the protein conformational change, then the range is starting from the nanosecond to a little bit of more than 1 second. You see, that is range. This is the protein conformational change. Now another event is the protein folding. So protein folding is the physical process by which a protein chain is translated to its native three-dimensional structure, typically a folded conformation by which the protein becomes biologically functional. So when at first the protein is synthesized, so at that time it is like a chain structure. We call it a protein chain. And after the synthesis, that is just after the protein synthesis, the protein chain is transformed. So how it is transformed? From the chain like structure, it becomes a three-dimensional structure, typically a folded conformation or a folded structure. And when it gets a folded structure, then the protein becomes biologically functional or biologically active. So this phenomena is very important. So the protein folding occurs, a polypeptide folds into its characteristic three-dimensional structure from a random coil. So it is a folding of the polypeptide in a random coil, from a random coil. Each protein exists first as an unfolded polypeptide or random coil after being translated from a sequence of mRNA to a linear chain of amino acids. So that is I was speaking, that is when at first protein is synthesized, then it is a linear chain of amino acids, and the protein synthesis process occurs via the steps that is transcription, then translation. So the code in the DNA that is read by the mRNA, and from the sequence of the mRNA, that is from the coding of the mRNA, a linear chain of amino acids are synthesized. So at first it is a linear chain like structure. At this stage the polypeptide lacks any stable three-dimensional structure. As a polypeptide chain is being synthesized by a ribosome, the linear chain begins to fold into its three-dimensional structure. So in this way protein folding process occurs. This particular text has been copied from the Wikipedia, and you can see the details image for the protein folding process. If you just Google that term, protein folding process, then you will be directed to the Wikipedia site, and you can check there the details figures that is for the protein folding process. So you see the time scale of the protein folding. So it starts from the millisecond order, and it goes close to the roughly it may be 10 to the power 2 second, like this. So this particular time scale is for the protein folding process. Now another phenomena, that is protein half life. The half life of a protein is the time it takes for the protein pool of that particular protein to be reduced to the half. The half life of proteins is highly dependent on the presence of the N-terminal amino acid, thus overall protein stability. So half life is a particular time. In this time what happens, that is the protein size of the protein is reduced to the half. So this is what about the protein half life. So this time range, that is protein half life, this time range is something below of the 10 to the power 3 second to close to the 10 to the power 6 second. So this is the time scale for the protein half lives. Another important process is the filament turnover. So what is filament turnover? The turnover dynamics of filament, basically actin filament networks, are driven by many processes. So these filament are responsible to give a shape to the cell. So basically these filaments form the cytoskeleton of a cell, and the action of the cytoskeleton is that they give the shape of the cell. The turnover dynamics of filament networks are driven by many processes, including growth and depolymerization of actin filaments, branching and growth of daughter filaments, and nucleation of new filaments from the cytosol. Filament turnover plays an important role in regulating cytoskeleton assembly and consequently the cell shape. So this filament turnover rate or the time scale of the filament turnover is very important, because it controls the cytoskeleton assembly and thereby it controls the shape of the cell. So here you see that is a cytoskeleton filament turnover. This is the range of the scale. The lower scale it is it may be of the order of 10 second, and the maximum range is close to the 10 to the power 6 second. So this is what about the cytoskeleton filament turnover. Then if we move to the higher order in time scale, then we will get the animal lifespans, that is lifespan of the animals. You see the lifespan of the animals, it is close to 10 to the power 6 second to roughly it may be up to 10 to the power 10 second or 10 to the power 11 second. But if you consider individual lifespan, you see for example Galapagos tortoise lifespan, it is 150 years, close to 5 into 10 to the power 9 second. But we are not speaking about some absolute value of the time span here. The important thing is to note the range of the time, for the lifespans for the animals. Similarly, you see that is flowering plant lifespan. This is the lifespan for the flowering plants. This is almost the lower value is almost 10 to the power 7 and the upper value may be roughly 10 to the power 11. So this is the flowering plant lifespan, this is the animal lifespan. So if we move to the higher part of this scale, then we are getting the lifespan of the animals or the lifespan of the plants. If we move to the more higher part of the time scale, then you will get the diversification of humans and chimpanzees. This is almost 6 million years or 2 into 10 to the power 14 second. So this value is very high. And if we move to some more highest, that is close to the highest point, then you will see that is diversification of metazoans, 600 million years, 2 into 10 to the power 16 second. And here you see that is maximum biological time scale, age of earth. This is the age of earth, that is the maximum point, because maximum point must be the age of earth, because we are speaking about the biological systems that are on the earth. So that is why it is the age of the earth which will be the highest point of the time scale. So this is 4 billion years or roughly 10 to the power 17 seconds. So this scale gives us some idea about different types of biological process. But here the point to note is that here we are not speaking about the absolute value of a particular process, but the range is important to get some idea about the time scale for different types of biological process. But now I will give some idea about some more important biological process. And here we will speak about a sentence that is beautifully described in this book. You see that is small things such as individual molecules tend to operate at fast rates, and large things such as elephants tend to move around at slow rates. So this sentence has been described very beautifully to describe the time scale of different biological process, because it is very evident that is small things means microscopic phenomena. So microscopic phenomena will occur at faster rates, and large things, that is one example, that is movement of the elephant. But it is not the only example, there are different types of examples. But whatever is large means macroscopic phenomena will occur at slower rates. So this thing we have to keep in mind. Now I will describe some of the important biological process. For example, suppose let us start from the development of a embryo from the egg. So you see that is this is an egg, and we are speaking about the development of Drosophila, because we are discussing such types of processes because these processes are very important in the sense of biological physics. So this is the development of Drosophila, and this biological process occurs in the units of days. You see the units are in days. So this is first day, this is second day, this is fifth day, this is ninth day. And we are starting from the formation of egg. This is the egg of the Drosophila. This is the larva, this is the pupa, and this is the adult fly. So if you see this biological process, so roughly it takes 10 days between the fertilization of the egg and the emergence of a fully functional adult fly. So in almost 9 or 10 days starting from the egg, a fully functional adult fly emerges out. So this is the development of the Drosophila. Now if we increase our temporal resolution, for example, in the previous lecture we discussed about the spatial resolution, and there what we were doing, we were magnifying the spatial scale. Similarly, we are speaking in this way, that is, we are increasing our temporal resolution. We are increasing our temporal resolution by a factor of 10. And if we increase our temporal resolution, then we are able to see the processes in the development of the fly embryo. So let us see what is the thing. So if we increase the temporal resolution, then the units will be in hours. You see here units are in days. As we have increased our temporal resolution, so the units will be in the units of hours. You see, this is a stopwatch, and this is the zero of the stopwatch, and step by step the time is increasing. And as we have increased our temporal scale, then we are able to observe the early development of Drosophila, that is, how the egg is being modified into the embryo. This is the early development of Drosophila. So this process occurs in much faster rate. This is the early development of Drosophila, and here as we have increased our temporal resolution, that then we can say that is it occurs in some faster process. This is a slower process, but this is a faster process, because the unit is hour and here the unit is day. So you see the modification of egg to the embryo. So over the first 10 hours or so after fertilization, a single cell is turned into an organized collection of thousands of cells with particular spatial positions and functions. This sentence is very important. You see, I am repeating it, that is a single cell. At first it was a single cell, but the single cell is turned into an organized collection of thousands of cells, and these cells are oriented, that is in a particular positions, and their functions are also different. So in this way eggs are modified and embryo is formed. So this is the early development of the Drosophila. Next we will speak about another process, that is individual cells have a natural development cycle as well. The cell cycle refers to the set of processes whereby a single cell, through the process of cell division, becomes two daughter cells. So what is cell division? Cell division means from a single cell, with the help of cell division process, two daughter cells are produced. So this process is the cell division process, and which is very important from the context of the biological physics. The time scales associated with the cell cycle of a bacterium such as E. coli are shown in figure 3.2c. Now we will observe that figure, that is the how the cell division occurs. So you see, at first you look at the unit, that is it is in minutes, because as we have increased our temporal resolution, so at first the figure in the previous figure the unit was hours, and in this figure the unit is minutes. So this is the stopwatch, this is the zero of the stopwatch, and step by step the time is increasing. So this is the zero, and this is roughly 30 minutes. So this was the parent cell, and from the parent cell with the steps of cell division process, two daughter cells are produced. So this is bacterial cell division, that is cell division of the E. coli. So it takes roughly 30 minutes, and this process is a very important process. So here we have observed the cell division process. Now we will observe another process, that is process of cell movement, and the point to note is the unit of the cell movement, that is it is in seconds. You see in the previous figure, that is when we described the cell division process, the unit was minute, but here the unit is second, and this is 0 of the stopwatch, and the maximum is roughly 25 minutes. And what we are describing, that is movement of the cell, and it is movement of the E. coli. If you put the E. coli under a microscope, then you can observe its movement. Now you see that is just after a few seconds the motion is directed. Directed means from this point to this point, this is a particular directed motion. But if you increase the time scale, then what happens, then this movement will look like a random movement, because you see these trajectories are not correlated, they are uncorrelated, and this movement we call it a random movement. So this is what about cell movement process, and the main thing is that here the unit is second. Now I will describe some more phenomena, two important phenomena, that is protein synthesis process and transcription process. These processes are very important. So if we magnify our temporal scale, so in the previous example we discussed the cell movement and the unit was in second. Now we are magnifying the time scale. We are magnifying the time scale. The rate of amino acid incorporation during protein synthesis, a process that we are going to represent. I will show you the figure. So macromolecular synthesis, that means a protein synthesis, is one of the most important sets of processes that any cell must undertake to make a new cell. So this is the importance of the protein synthesis process. I already said that the two process, the first process is the protein synthesis process and another one is the transcription process. So these biological processes are very important. So macromolecular synthesis is one of the most important sets of process that any cell must undertake to make a new cell. Another key part of the macromolecular synthesis required for cell division is the process of transcription. So before the macromolecular synthesis, that is before the protein synthesis, another important step occurs. So that is the transcription, which is the intermediate step connecting the genetic material as content in DNA and the readout of that message in the form of proteins. So if we briefly describe the protein synthesis phenomena, that we can say that is there is some genetic material, or we can say there is some genetic code content in the DNA, and in the transcription process what occurs, that is mRNA reads out that message. The purpose of the mRNA is to read out, that is what is coded in the DNA, to read out that particular message, and reading that message some proteins will be synthesized, that is readout of that message in the form of proteins. Transcription refers to the synthesis of mRNA molecules as faithful copies of the nucleotide sequence in the DNA. That is, in the DNA there is some particular nucleotide sequence, that we can say some code. So in the DNA there is some particular nucleotide sequence, and obeying that particular nucleotide sequence, what happens, that is mRNA molecules are created. So mRNA molecules are basically the faithful copies of the nucleotide sequence in the DNA. A polymerization process catalyzed by the enzyme RNA polymerase. So synthesis of mRNA is basically a polymerization process, because step by step the mRNA molecules continues growing. I will show you in the figure in detail. So mRNA molecules continue to grow, obeying the sequence of the nucleotide sequence of the DNA, and RNA polymerase enzyme helps in this process. The incorporation by RNA polymerase of nucleotides onto the mRNA during transcription as depicted symmetrically in figure 3.2f, that I will show you later. So, now let us move to the figure. So, at first we will describe the transcription process because it happens before the protein synthesis. So, this one is a transcription process. So, how transcription process occurs? So, this one is the DNA template. So, this one is the DNA template. In the DNA template there is particular nucleotide sequence. There is a particular nucleotide sequence, or loosely we can say that there is some particular code in the DNA, and RNA polymerase is an enzyme. RNA polymerase is an enzyme, and it helps in growing mRNA transcript. You see, that is mRNA transcript is growing continuously. If you look at this figure, this is step by step, that is mRNA is growing. How mRNA is growing? Basically it is a copy of the DNA. That is why the name is transcription. It is a copy of the DNA. So, this is the copy of the DNA and this copy is synthesized following the nucleotide sequence of the DNA. So, this is what about the transcription process. Now, you see the unit. This is 0 second. The first is 0 second, then this is 0.2 second, and next this is 0.4 second. So, after the transcription process, what happens? Protein is synthesized, that is following the mRNA transcript. Following the mRNA transcript, that is following that transcript, the amino acid chains will be synthesized. Depending on the transcript, amino acid chains will be synthesized. So, this is a chain like structure of the protein, step by step. That is, you see, just one molecule, then two molecule, and step by step protein chains are synthesized. So, this is the protein synthesis process, and you see the unit. This is 0 second, then this is 0.1 second, this is 0.5 second, and this is 1 second. So, if you look at the units, you see that maximum unit is 1 second, and in the transcription process the maximum unit is 0.4 second. Then we can say that transcription is a faster process than the protein synthesis process. So, these are the two important steps of the protein synthesis process. In the moment to moment life of the cell, proteins do most of the work. Many proteins are able to operate at time scales much faster than the relatively stately machinery carrying out the central dogma operations. For example, a great here we can say one sentence, that is central dogma operation means actually the protein synthesis process, that is transcription process, translation process, and how proteins are synthesized. That particular process is known as the central dogma operation that we have just described. Now, the main thing is that for example, a great number of biological processes are dictated by the passage of ions across ion channels with a characteristic time scale of milliseconds as shown in the figure 3.2g. It means that in the cytosol or cytoplasm there are different types of ions present, and these ions take part in different types of biological process, and this biological process occurs through the movement of the ions through some ion channels. So, let us look at the figure, and the main thing is that here it has been described in this book, that is the time scale is of the order of millisecond, that is movement of the ion through those particular channels occurs in the units of millisecond scale. So, now let us look at the figure. So, getting of ion channels. So, this is a channel, this is a ion channel, and this is a lipid bilayer. This one is the lipid bilayer. So, at first the ion channel is closed, and these are the ions. This is a typical example. These are the there may be different types of ions present in the cell. So these are the ions, and you see this is 0 second at first, and the ion channel is closed. Now after some time, that is 0.001 second, means it is of the order of millisecond, the channel is opened. The channel is opened and the ions are passed through the channel. You see that ions are passing or ions are moving through the channel, and once ions are passed from this position to the lower position, the channel is again closed, and this stopwatch is showing that is now it is 0.002 second. So the whole process takes place in the millisecond scale. So this is the description of the ion movement through some ion channels. So such types of biological process, different types of biological process occurs frequently in the cell, and it occurs that is in a faster rate. It is a fast process. A factor of 1000 speed up of our stopwatch, that is if you increase our stopwatch, then it brings us to the world of enzyme kinetics. Enzyme kinetics at the microsecond time scale. So this time scale is very faster. You see that is the time scale is in microsecond range. The movement of the ion occurs in millisecond range, that I described a little bit earlier. But enzyme kinetics is such a phenomena that occurs faster than the ion movement. It occurs in the microsecond time scale. It is important to note that these time scales merely represent a general rule of thumb. For example, this is basically gives a range of the time scales, but we are not concerned with the absolute value of the time scale, and the turnover rates for individual enzymes may range from 0.5 second inverse to 6 into 10 to the power 5 second inverse. So the range is important here, and you see the figure, that is enzyme catalysis. This process is very fast process because it occurs in the microsecond order. You see that is this one is 0, this one is 0, this is enzyme and the substrate, then the substrate comes closer to the enzyme, and lastly the substrate here divides. So the whole process takes place in microsecond order. Whole process takes place in microsecond order. So this process is very fast process. So here in the lecture what we have described, different types of biological process and the range of the time scale of those particular biological process, and we have observed that is these scales ranges from very lower value to a very high value. If we again look at the figure that we have at first shown, you see that the lowest point of the figure starts from the femtosecond, and if we move to the highest point, that is it is almost of the order of 10 to the power 17 or 10 to the power 18 second. So I hope you have understood this lecture. I have already said that is the content of the lecture is from the textbook of Rob Phillips and others. The name of the book is Physical Biology of the Cell. Those who want to know further about this topic, I request those viewers to go through the textbook, and I thank you all for listening the lecture.